Broncos Country, we are back. We're finally back. We've got the last hurdle, the last monkey off our back that was the Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders. We finally get a victory on the road, first victory on the road since 2015. So it has been a long 8 years for Broncos Country in many regards. We have beaten the Chiefs finally. And now we have finally not only beaten the Raiders, but we've finally beaten the Raiders away from Mile High. Those are two significant things to happen. It truly paints the picture of that our culture is back. We've turned the page, and all the vibes are trending positive. So but feeling positive. Let's go. Oh, Broncos Country, how we feeling? Welcome to the Buck Your Feelings post-game show. Your host, Jamie, alongside Johnny, the Mile High Viking to left here. How you doing today, John?
Well, besides you and Isaiah trading places on bad internet,
yeah, for real.
I'm not sure what's going on there, cuz I'm doing well though. It wasn't a pretty win. Not in my opinion. It's not like last week. Last week we were flying high on mile high cloud 9, and I'm happy. I'm very happy. A W is a W, and we are still on our march towards the playoffs, and it's looking good for us right now. But there was a lot in this game that I just felt like I don't know if they overlooked the Raiders or if they didn't prepare properly, or what's going on. Play calling was a little suspect at times. It did not seem to be as well meshed a game as we had against Atlanta. And I get it. It's on the road. It's in Vegas. It's a divisional game, which are, historically harder, even against the worst of teams. A great example of that would be the Browns versus the Ravens this season, but at the same time, like, the way we dismantled the Atlanta Falcons, who were a much, much better, much more well put together, much more balanced team than the Raiders are, to see us go out against the Raiders and put together, it did not look as good. It just didn't look as good. And they got some stuff to clean up. But it was still a good win. And a win is a win. And I don't care how you get it. In the immortal words of Vin Diesel, it
don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
So feels good to get that, but I definitely hope they clean some stuff up, Jay.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's why I kind of said dirty game, because, divisional games can be dirty. There were definitely some warts to this game, but, good teams finish dirty games, and we win games that we don't play mistake-free football. And it's nice. It's a nice sign for us to kind of point the needle to, hey, when things are in the balance, we're a team that can get it done and can win.
Absolutely.
That's a nice turning of the corner culturally.
Yeah, I mean, and you saw it. The rough patches, the real rough patches, were in the beginning of the game. We were really able like to turn the corner in the third and fourth quarters. Honestly, the best third quarter we've had all season. Historically, this season, third quarter's been our worst. It's kind of another one of those just anomalies, but we definitely had probably the best third quarter we've had all season, and that's a good thing. I'm hoping that it's a trend in the right direction, but again, dub's a dub. Dub's a dub.
Yep, a dub is a dub. And speaking of dubs, Johnny, you want to get some housekeeping here out of the way?
Oh. Well, since we're speaking about dubs, the Denver Broncos just got the dub, as you can see by that beautiful green W above Jay's head right now. But if you want to go ahead and get yourself the dub, please go show some love to the sponsor of today's show. The link is in the bio below at dubby.gg. Go over there and get yourself some Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. Dubby is delicious. It comes in a multitude of flavors. It is exactly what you need to kick off your day and to keep you going throughout your day. But the best part about Dubby is that its formula will not give you the jitters or the crash later because it is formulated with no sugar. It also has no calories. It has no maltodextrin. It has no fillers, no artificial colors. It is as natural as it gets. Amino acids, B vitamins, and nootropics, including their own patented nootropic called Neurofactor that keeps you sharp throughout your day. And then the caffeine that's in Dubby is derived directly from the coffee plant. So this stuff is as good and natural as it can be. And as you can see right there, Dubby's giving you an extra dub. It kind of scrolled off there. But Dubby right now is having their Black Friday sale. 40% off site-wide for all things Dubby. So that is an incredible savings. What a way to, if you haven't had it before, to go get your start, to try it for the first time. Go over to Dubby, get your 40% off for Black Friday, for the Black Friday sale. But I'm going to make your dub even sweeter. And how am I going to do that? Because I'm going to give you an extra 10% off on top of that with code NRWOB10 at checkout. You punch in code NRWOB10, you get a full 50% off your order at dubby.gg. That's a pretty sweet dub, I got to say. Guys, I don't have to say anymore. That's it.
Yeah, man. And like getting back to this game and just the overall arc of this season, man, I'm just so happy to be back in a place where we can check off some of these bugaboos that we've had on this team's fan base's, conscience for quite some time. 8 years, 4 in Las Vegas, 4 in Oakland, that we had not beaten this team on the road. And that's mind-boggling to me, as crappy as the Raiders have been, in my opinion, through that stretch. It's not like they've been like the Chiefs. That I can understand because of their successes. But Peyton's, what did you see out of Sean Payton today? What's your 2 cents of coaching?
Besides the princess pink glasses that were hung on his hoodie, did you notice that?
It was strange. I didn't know. It's not October anymore. What?
I mean, I didn't understand that. But okay, here's the thing. He called, for the most part, he called a good game. I mean, it's what, he's very good. He's very good. He's a very good play caller. However, I think after we had those 2 successful bubble screens last week for touchdowns, Sean got a little too in love with the screen game, especially against the Raiders with Max Crosby, dude. I mean, he's a freak of nature. He's a one-of-a-kind player. He's very unique. And the thing is, after the first couple of screens got shut down, Sean kept coming back to them. And every single time, the Raiders were never buying it, and they were always prepared. And Max Crosby was always ready to absolutely swallow the receiver, who be it from a running back from the backfield or a drop back, from a wide receiver. They read it like a book every single time, and Sean kept going back to it. And I'm like, dude, granted, we did execute that beautiful screen, that one beautiful screen to, I believe it was Marvin Mims, that went for like 54 yards or something like that. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
I want to say it was like 37, something like that. But like that was the play of the game, really, because that set us up.
It was 37 yards,
and it was great for that touchdown that kind of put us in control of that game.
Exactly, and so I'm not going to take anything away from that happening. However, like before that, he just kept coming back to that screen game, and I'm like, dude, it's not working. Stop it.
Yep.
I did not see as much play action as I would have wanted to see in this game, especially when you consider that their two starting corners were out. So I mean, again, I'm not the coach. I'm not. So I can't sit here and pretend that I know better than Sean Payton. But I can call it like I see it. And that's what I saw.
I thought it was kind of wild when we went up that they made it a 3-point game, and we came back, and on our drive that should have been like, hey, let's take some clock off, we go 3 and out, and we pass 3 passes in a row. I thought from a game clock management, that was really dumb, especially since they had cut over to Bo Nix right before that drive, and it was the first time they were sewing him up with a heating pad. And that's kind of a worrisome thing. It's the first time I've at least seen Bo Nix get some bumps and bruises. I don't know what's exactly going on.
I don't know if you really noticed. I don't know if you really saw the play in which Bo got hurt.
Non-contact.
It was non-contact. It just had to do with how he turned his body as he threw the ball, and he tweaked something. Probably just a muscle. Slight tweak to a muscle. Rest, ice, heat. You can't elevate your back, but rest, ice, and heat. He'll be okay.
Yeah.
So if it's okay with you, I just want to pull up some comments here.
Roll some comments. We've got plenty of them.
Yeah, we do. Denver City in the house says, let's go. Mundungus popping in, the man, the myth, the legend from over on the neighborhood that was live just before us, says, sweep. Mark from Georgia, our dear friend, says, swept off the yellow brick road. Go Broncos. Raider Zach, our first Raider in the house tonight, says, congrats on the win and sweep. Hey, we appreciate it, buddy. And Raider Zach, welcome to the Orange and Blue crew. We always welcome everyone from all fan bases. Hopefully we see you again sometime. We appreciate you, bud. Diego popping in saying, can't get enough Broncos. Let's go. Love it. Mundungus popping back in. Riley Moss goes out, and they still didn't bring in Damari Mathis, Jay.
Mundungus, a week wouldn't go by if we didn't have Damari Mathis slander. And when Riley Moss went out, I was a little peeved that we didn't get to see my boy out there. I can't wait to see an update on Riley Moss, because that is troublesome. I want to say that's a knee injury.
It was something, but the fact that he walked off on his own power, and he did not appear to be, when he was walking, he did not appear to be favoring it too much, tells me it's probably just some kind of, a quick contact, maybe a nice bruise, bone, possibly a bone bruise, but it's not something he wouldn't be able to play without going forward. If anything, he might miss a game. In my opinion,
Levi Wallace is a vet. Like, we're very lucky to have him coming off the bench. So
he had some blown coverages, though, bud. He had some blown coverages.
Yeah, but I was kind of surprised they continued to hit McMillan without and not really target Wallace as much as I thought they would. Him coming off clean legs.
Yeah,
so I was kind of surprised by that. We won't be so fortunate in future matchups. They're going to be targeting Wallace.
We got Raider Zach, another comment here saying, I love my Raiders, but I want to lose the rest of our games, but be competitive. We need our QB of the future. Yeah. Hey, I mean, Me personally, I don't believe in tanking, intentionally. I don't believe in it. I don't believe anybody should. But at the same time, everyone can fan their own way. So, the Raiders will be back. The Raiders
Plenty of
will be
franchises
back.
do it. That's why Drew Lock's not starting in New York, and it's the gangster guy. I forgot what his name is.
We got a 6'10" Mexican, Adon Diaz, in the house, the host of Broncos Talk on Wednesdays on Orange and Blue Network, and the host who premiered the brand new, entirely in Spanish, Denver Broncos podcast, Viva los Broncos, last night on the Orange and Blue Network and MHRT Network. He says, "We are the Broncos, the mighty, mighty Broncos." Bo Nix delivers the W. Dude, I love it, man. It feels good to just to see these wins stack. Especially after a 2-game losing streak, to stack a 2-game win streak is nice.
Absolutely. To take care of our business, because that's going to be honestly the theme moving forward here versus the opponents we're about to have, is we just need to take care of business. It don't matter how it looks. We just need the dubs, because if we can play without injury and just get some W's under our belt, the real important football is to come in a matchup sense.
Absolutely. Let's see. A couple more comments. Mark from Georgia. Yeah, Jay is a little pissed that Mathis wasn't in. Look at his face. Poor Jay.
Not gonna lie. NGL.
D-Rock coming in. It's our good friend. There's a picture of his beautiful boy Blue saying, "I know we're not all on the same boat, but we have to keep Sutton. Tutties are way more important than yards." I'm cool with keeping Cortland Sutton here. I just think that it would be a good idea to look for some star power as well, star power as well, because he's not a star. He's a good wide receiver, a very good wide receiver, and he's got a nice shorthand going on with Bo Nix. That's great, but in my opinion, it wouldn't hurt us to go get some more star power.
He's got a heck of a skill set when it comes to red zone and 50-50 balls, and he has his entire career, and that's not going to diminish as you get older. It's the speedsters who drop significantly when you get to.
Yeah. You cut out, bud. Sorry. Lost you. There we go. You're back.
Back.
You're back to life. All right. No, I mean, and Cortland Sutton, let's give him some love, man. 8 receptions, 97 yards for an average of 12.1 per reception, and 2 touchdowns today. I mean, good on him. Both of them in the back of the end zone. Well done. And I love to see it. Let's see. Mark from Georgia, we need to run the ball better. Bo, 42 times. That's a lot. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. 40. We had 22 carries this game. Jaleel McLaughlin had 7, Audric Estime 3, and Bo had 1 technically.
You look at Javante's line though.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Can I talk about this for a second, Jay?
Yeah, get on your soapbox.
I'm about to jump up on my soapbox. Javonte Williams, 8 carries, bell cow today for -2 yards. Now, last week, Javonte Williams had a great game, and everybody was like, "Oh, how did you say it, Jay? The death of Javonte Williams was greatly exaggerated," or something like that.
I take it all back.
Yeah, and everybody was sitting there like, "Oh, Javonte," and I was like, "Yes, it was a great game, and I appreciate that." But I literally said last week, my problem with Javonte Williams is he is so week to week, he is so unbelievably inconsistent. One week he'll have a phenomenal showing, a great game. He'll show the coaches why he should be the bell cow, and the next week he sucks a lemon, and that's what we saw. Last week he was great, and he made the argument for why he should be taking the majority of the carries. And then we get this. 8 carries for -2 yards.
Yep.
Inconsistent week to week. I don't like it. I don't want it. If Derrick Henry was like that, he would not be the, the commodity that he is. He is that consistent week in, week out, week in, week out. It doesn't matter. You know Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. Javonte Williams, you never know which Javonte Williams you're going to get. And that is why at this point, dude, I am out on Javonte.
Well, and that you can accept those inconsistencies when you're a rookie. Like Audric Estime, I think we all give some grace to. We give grace to people that are, fresh because they don't know their way. But when you're in your fourth year, in an advanced position that doesn't take much from translation from college, you should be ready to go. And Javonte has been wildly inconsistent in his entire career. This is not just an anomaly. I'm out on Javonte.
Absolutely. Mark from Georgia, did we like the trash talk between Bo, Wilson, and Crosby?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did.
I like. Got it. He just it.
Exactly. Diego popping in saying, my guy is very excited about the sponsor. That's because Dubby is delicious and it's good stuff and it really keeps you going during the day. Believe me, I keep it on my desk for work and I use it and it works. So trust me on that. That's why I'm so hyped about the sponsor. But yeah, I mean like D-Rock, Pookie owes yards.
Yeah. That's a bad sign at the end of a game.
Against the 28th ranked defense, dude. -2 yards against the 28th ranked defense. That is disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Oh. And I just want to throw Mundungus here. Says the play action wasn't working because of the constant pressure from the D-line of the Raiders. Those should take offense to that because this is a garbage team and a very good offensive line. And
it seemed to me like our offensive line was just off today. In general, they were. There was a lot of moments where I was asking myself, what are these guys thinking? I mean, you had that one play where it was supposed to be a handoff, and you had both Quinn Miners and I believe it was Ben Powers, both of them downfield, and there was no communication with the offensive line today. And Mike McGlinchey is starting to be a bit of starting to falter on him again.
He had a brutal first quarter. He had a stretch where, and I will give him props today. He
yeah. I don't know, dude. There's just something going on with Mike McGlinchey. Like he has his moments where he's firing on all cylinders for us right now. But Dave Glassman coming in telling me he's disappointed in me. He says Javonte Williams played well. Yeah, well in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're just messing with me on that one, Dave, but you can count me out on Javonte right now, dude. I'm done with him. He cannot be consistent. And by the way, Jay, I'm not sure what's going on with that internet cuss because we keep losing you bad for long stretches.
All right, let me get out and I'll come back in.
Sounds good, buddy. Sounds good. I'll keep it rolling.
All
right. Mark from Georgia, I meant Bo throwing the ball 42 times. That's a lot. We're not consistent on running the ball, and we're going to need that later if we're going to make a push to the playoffs. I see what you were saying. I'm sorry. I misread. I do apologize about that. But, yeah, I see what you're saying. 42 times is a lot, and that likely contributed to that slight tweak to his back during a throw. Is that, it's getting overworked, man, and it's too much. Mark from Georgia says it should have been 25 to 30 for Bo. So let's talk Bo's numbers. Bo went 25 for 42 this game, which definitely comparatively versus last game, which was 28 for 33. Definitely down. Only he got 273 yards, so he didn't do what he did last week with the yardage, but 273 is nothing to frown about. That's actually right around with the same as Patrick Mahomes threw today in the Chiefs game. 2 touchdowns, 1 sack for a loss of 11 yards, overall passer rating of 94.6. Which is that passer rating is a far cry from what we had from this last week. So I wouldn't necessarily be looking for Bo Nix to be getting, offensive rookie of the week again for this week. I'm not saying anything against how good he has been and how good I know he can be. I still believe he's the front runner to be the offensive rookie of the year. But a definite step back from what we saw last week. Some of those passes, like Mark is saying here, would should have been, he's talking about the numbers 25 for 30 instead of 25 for 42. But I will say this, some of those passes should have been caught, man. Like they should have been. In one drive, there was 3 dropped, there was 2 passes that were catchable that were dropped. So we'll get there. He'll get there. I'm not worried about Bo right now. I think, he's got some tape to watch and some things to work on, but I'm still very confident in our quarterback. I really am. I truly and genuinely am. Let's see. Denver City comes in saying McGlitchy, just like Jay's Wi-Fi. Mark from Georgia says, Baki Saki, dig in the gear, dude, the swag. That's right, buddy. Well, I more and more I'm like, okay, you know what? It's game day. I'm gonna keep my regardless of the fact, because it used to be I would only bring out all of my Mile High Viking stuff when I would go to the games, but I would just wear like a jersey and a hat on game day when I was going to be watching from my living room. But anymore, I'm like, you know what? I am the Mile High Viking. It's game day. I'm going to go all out. The only thing that I didn't do today, Mile High Viking wise, is I didn't paint my beard orange with the blue stripe, which is my normal thing that I do with my beard. It takes forever to get, I use a type of beard wax or, hair wax that has color, and getting that combed in and everything into the beard, it takes forever. And then on top of it, getting it out is a nightmare. So I didn't do that today, but I did rock the face paint and I did bring out the rest of my stuff. I'm rocking my Mile High Viking cloak, and you can't see it. I got the fur and the Broncos chest clips to hold the cloak on. You can't see the back of it, but I have a white and orange stripe down the back of the blue cloak with a Broncos helmet back there. It looks pretty dope. I'm just not going to stand up right now to show it. Yep. And the man, the myth, the legend, he returns on your shield or with your shield or on it, Spartan. So there you go. So let's see here. All right, we got an injury update, Jay, from Mundungus, tossing it in there for us. I haven't gotten to see this yet. He says Riley Moss should be good to go next week. Gardner Minshew out for the year. I said it in the comments of the neighborhood. It looked like a broken collarbone to me, the way he was holding his arm, and those take up to 8 months to heal, by the way.
Yikes.
Yeah. And yeah, so he's out for the year, but Riley Moss should be good to go next week. He actually apparently tried to go back in the game, but coaching staff said no. So they sat him the rest of the game to give him some, a little healing, but he'll be back, guys. That's good news.
So that makes a lot more sense of the credence that I saw Daniel Jones rumors to the Raiders to basically close this year out. And that makes total sense for them with Gardner Minshew going to be out long term, because Desmond Ridder is garbage. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
do you remember the preseason game
dude.
Against the Cardinals that we played him? He was garbage in the preseason versus like threes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. Jair saying 6 catches, 78 yards, 1 touchdown in the third quarter. Who is that for? Who are we talking about?
Sutton?
No, because Sutton had 8 catches for 97 and 2 touchdowns. So I'm not sure who we're talking about. Clarify for us, Jair, if you would, please.
I was going to say that might be court just in the third quarter. Like he obviously
okay,
had more
for the
than
third
that.
quarter alone.
Yeah, just in the third quarter alone, he had a baller quarter. But we gave
really
him
did.
like, I want to say he had out of those 6 catches like 8 targets. Most of his work came in a small time window because he was hardly highlighted at all in the beginning of the game.
No, he really wasn't. Devon Vele was the man during the first half. Yep. You had a little Jordan Humphrey, which failed miserably. Marvin Mims definitely got that one great screen. But that was really the only real touch we saw from Marvin Mims. Troy Franklin had a few catches as well. Troy Franklin, 2 catches for 31 yards. I mean, he definitely got one of those was 26 yards. So good job, Troy Franklin, on that one. Those were the main guys. Marvin Mims, actually, I guess I had this wrong. Marvin Mims had 3 for 44. So
I was going to say, there was one specific that I saw Troy Franklin make right in the middle. Yeah, it was the one catch he had for 26 yards. It was straight through the middle, and Franklin looked really good on that specific play. And I would like to see him work the middle of the field a little bit more as a slot wide receiver. We don't necessarily see that as much out of him. It's more so just the substitution of gimmick plays for, replacing Marvin Mims, which is all great. But like Franklin in the future needs to be a, solidified route tree kind of wide receiver to hang on in this league.
Yes, he does. So that's what his skill set has to become if he wants to be successful and stay in the league. You're right. Yep. Absolutely. Because as far as his body type and his skill sets are concerned, there's a lot of wide receivers just like him out there.
Absolutely.
So he's definitely got to nail down those routes and be that. And if he can slot himself in as the wide receiver, no pun intended, slot himself in as the wide. But if he can, take on that role as the wide receiver and really, set himself apart, he could definitely make a name for himself in this league. Sorry. Mark confirmed. Yeah, exactly. That's what his number was in the third quarter. Sorry, it took me a second there, buddy. I apologize. And I haven't even been drinking because I've almost completely stopped drinking. Like a beer with dinner maybe, but beyond that, I've pretty much quit drinking, guys. I know, it's scary. I used to be the drinking guy, but my liver thanks me, and I'm down 10 pounds in 2 weeks. So that's a good thing for me, for my health and everything.
Big deal. Yeah,
it is. I'm a fat guy, and a big part of that was the fact that I refused to stop drinking, especially beer. And I know that now that I can. I would never have considered myself an alcoholic, thank God. But I definitely loved my beer too much. And putting it aside, I have felt better for the most part. I like I said, I've lost 10 pounds. I know that my liver is going to appreciate it very much. I'm also a diabetic, and that's not a good thing for a diabetic to really do a lot of. So it's definitely something that I've been working on, and I'm very proud to say that, except for, like I said, maybe a beer at dinner the other night with a friend. I had a couple sips of whiskey, but nothing major. Wasn't doing like I used to, because I used to be the guy, you guys remember, over the years on the show, I used to be the guy that go through 3-4 beers and throw the bottles during the show. I'm not that guy anymore. I can't be. Let's see. Daniel Miller popping in. Giving some critique on our coaches, saying, thought Sean Payton really struggled today. And he also says Vance Joseph didn't have the best day as DC, was worried about his future with the team. No.
Not the future with the team, but I will say, again, I don't know why we make adjustments when they should be the original things we should be doing from the start. PS2 being on Brock Bowers should have started from the very first snap of the game. And granted, he was on him on the back half of the game, and notice how Brock Bowers disappeared. But I still don't like that Vance doesn't. It's like he knows the right answer, but he refuses to go to the right answer early in the game to almost set up the defense for the second half. And
yes,
I don't know. It's almost like playing with our food to a certain extent.
So a little bit.
there's a little left to be desired for schematics, and we've seen that in previous games of going soft zone at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, well, heck, he went soft zone in the early in the fourth quarter today, and I was like, and that's when they were able to chew us up down the middle of the field, and get that touchdown. I was sitting there literally right before they scored that touchdown. I was like, how? Why are we back in soft zone again? Like, it's gotta stop, man. So yeah,
you're right. I mean, you're very right. It's a tough kind of thing to see. Again, the right answer on the board, but us like avoiding the right answer. It seems like this defense is good enough where we should be able to just be in man the entire game and send our 4 rushers, and every once in a while, bring the heat
6.
with bring a quarterback like McMillan coming for that fumble was phenomenal. Sending a cornerback every once in a while really, jolts the pressures up, and that's what makes this defense special, and creates turnovers. I don't know, but I wouldn't necessarily say Vance Joseph had a bad game. I guess I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say it was a bad game, but
my God!
At the same time, you expect us right now because of the way that we're in week 12. All right, like this is the back end of the season now. Like we are literally 5 games away from the end of the season. If you think about that, that's nuts. This year has just flown by.
It really has.
And because of the way that the Broncos have played defensively the whole season, we've come to expect, the league has come to expect, everyone has come to expect a certain level of play out of this defense. And when we don't deliver that, Ravens game, and then a little bit today, little bit, it's cause for not concern, but cause to be like, hey, come on, man, knocking on the door here. Hey, wake up.
Well, I think that's also because the bar has been raised for the expectations of this team because of what we've seen this year. We went into this year with pretty low expectations, as we should. And, like D-Rock says, can we take a beat to appreciate Casa Bonito? Now, that's a player that has overperformed this year. That's a microcosm of our team. That is a character or a role that we didn't necessarily see in the beginning of the season. But now we come to expect that every single week. And if we don't get it, we think something's terribly wrong. But, I think as Broncos country, we need to take a step back and take a breath and really appreciate the highlights that we get. And, know that there's going to be inconsistencies with this team. It's not going to be a well-oiled machine because we don't have a roster that's well-oiled. Yeah.
No. But I mean, they're showing that love to Nick Bonito. I mean, dude had 3 tackles today, which is kind of low for him. 3 tackles, all of them solo. One of them was the sack that forced the fumble on Desmond Ridder. And then 2 of them were tackles for loss. So all 3 of his tackles today went backwards for the Raiders, which is great. So I mean, got to give the man his love, his just desserts. He with that sack gave him 10 on the season, making him the first Denver Bronco to achieve double-digit sacks since 2018.
That's nuts. That is it, man. I think we forget how bad of basement dwellers we've been as a team for quite some time, that we keep breaking these records that like first time in 8 years, first time in 6 years, first time in 5 years. Like it's been brutal around here, and it's nice to have expectations now. But like I said, it's just, we need to be more appreciative. I feel like, and you know what? The glass half full guy here, Bronco Libre. Which, dude, awesome picture. You got a cute little babe there with the mask. Love it. But what he
which,
says
by the
is,
way, the other host of Viva Los Broncos that premiered last night and will from this moment forward go live every Friday night at 8/7/65 on Orange and Blue Network and MHRT Network.
but man, he's always a positive guy, and he says he does like our defense right now. They don't stop playing, and you could see that in the second half, which it makes our defense special. Is that we are the anonymous crush, which I'm going to continue and use that phrase.
I love
John
that.
Gruden.
I love that.
The anonymous that's what this crush. Defense is that's the
Viva los Broncos.
Absolutely.
Thank you, my friend. Okay, so Mundungus is giving us a warning about Mr. Daniel Miller, that Daniel Miller is a troll. Okay, appreciate the warning, but he says Vance Joseph defense was really bad, and Vance Joseph couldn't get stops when we needed them till late in the game. Sean Payton calling was horrifically bad until we had to have it. I mean, once again, Daniel, Mundungus said you're a troll. I don't know if you're actually a troll. I don't like to be that guy, but I will say this. I will say, yes, some of the play calling was suspect. It was not their best game in terms of play calling, but they still called a good enough game to win. And you know what? Like we already said it earlier in the show. It don't matter.
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
And that's what I choose to stand by.
Yeah. We've got an inch or a mile, wiener conversations as well in the chat, and
I know all this talk of kielbasa.
But there are sausages about. So you dip your toe in the water wherever you want to, commenters. Me myself, I will stay clear of those waters. But Drew Lock should be starting. Just my 2 cents on that subject.
Daniel says that Mundungus is a troll.
Ooh, all right, we got troll battles. Where's Justin Timberlake to start the ballot?
Can't stop the feeling. Anyway, we got a question here. Dylan asking me, what did I think about the neighborhood show today with all the clips they got of Bill? Oh dear God,
poor Bill. I mean,
did you watch the neighborhood today, Jay?
I watched a little bit of it. A little bit.
Okay.
I didn't see the whole thing.
I don't know if you caught much of the late third through the fourth quarter, but someone got Bill to say huge asshole. My can you say a happy birthday to my uncle, huge asshole?
See more butts.
And Bill didn't get it. So the rest of the show, everybody spent the rest of the show trying to get him with, really filthy ones, man. I mean, I can't remember half of them, but I was sitting there like shaking my head because he was like totally falling for it every single time. He's like, who's Harry, Harry Dick Erectus or something. I don't remember, but he kept saying it. Like, I don't think we have someone. I'm like, oh, Bill, come on, you naive.
Says
buddy.
What?
Yeah. So, I mean, I felt so bad for Bill, but they definitely got a lot on him. Probably the biggest one, though, that they got on him, which Mundungus, I know, is turning into a clip, was we were talking about food. We were talking about steak specifically. And KB82, our dear friend, asked in the chat if anybody had been to Brazilian steakhouses. And I was like, I love Brazilian steakhouses. And he mentioned one that we used to have. It's still in Denver. That we used to have one of here in Nashville called Texas Day Brazil. One of mine and my wife's favorite restaurants. Unfortunately, during COVID, it got run out of business by the pandemic here in Nashville anyway. But like I said, it's still in Denver. So I had said to KB82 in there, I was like, hey, dude, the next time I'm in Denver, we should meet up for dinner and at TDB. And he's like, I'm totally down. And then someone was like, and then Mundungus pulls up, he's like, what's TDB? And I believe it was Dylan. I believe it was Dylan himself who said titties, dicks, and butts. And
I was
Bill
say Tom Brady's dinger.
Yeah, no, he said titties, dicks, and butts. And I promise you, like, Bill didn't even read it before he read it out loud. And he went and he pulled up the comment and just said it. And he was looking right at the camera when he said it. And I was like, oh dear God, that just happened. But
it's not Bill's fault. He's a Charger fan.
Yeah. I'm not going to read it out loud because I try to keep our show a little bit clean because I have family that watches this. He says, I got him with that one. I mean, they got it so many times today. So many times today. There are so many clips that taking a bill today. It's so bad, man. It's so bad.
Good.
But
So-
go ahead.
No, I was gonna pivot. So I mean, do you have any more on that subject?
Oh no, I'm done. I'm out.
So I want to stand on my soapbox for a hot second, and I guess it's somewhat continuing the Vance Joseph slander, but Adon brings up so proud of Ellis for redeeming himself for giving up that touchdown earlier with the game-winning sack. That is not Ellis's fault. That is someone putting Ellis in the position to be covering a wide receiver or a tight end or anyone in coverage. Ellis should never be put in that position. In the same manner is back in the day, I never, ever, ever wanted to see Von Miller in coverage. Know your role, know your skill set, and it's the defensive coordinator's job to put you in the best position to succeed. So that was some crap that I immediately said, well, that's not Ellis's fault. Not at all.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, it was a good pass, but Ellis is not a cover. He's not a coverage linebacker.
No,
okay, he's not. And when you saw that pass go off, you know that these guys that do coverage, Cody Barton is a good example.
Sure,
Cody Barton's a great coverage linebacker. He knows to turn his head and locate that ball. You didn't see Ellis turn his head. He didn't even know that the ball was coming. He was just sticking to the assignment he was given, and all kudos to Mr. Broken Collarbone, Mr. Gardner Mullet Shoe. That's right, I said it. But he read that matchup, and he saw it, and he was like, "Oh, I'm hitting that." Like he looked right at it, and he was salivating. He was ready to propose to that matchup.
Wonder if he can get his jean shorts off with his broken collarbone.
Probably not easily. I mean, those things are so tight, dude.
They are.
I mean, have you noticed how much his thighs pooch out of the ends of those jean shorts? But but exactly. Mark from Georgia. Ellis is a pass rusher, not a cornerback.
Correct.
He should never have been in that position.
But it sparked me. Don bringing that up just sparked me of like, man, that just made me really mad to see him get into that position because he's an impressionable rookie. You want to put your rookies, especially in paths for success,
positions to exceed.
Their mentals, keep their mentals going. So I don't know, just random soapbox there. Sorry to squirrel on you there.
No, I like it. That's great. I love getting up on the soapbox.
Yeah.
So it's totally fine. D-Rock, I did like more Vele targets.
Yeah, and again, in a consistency standpoint, I'm giving grace to rookies. I'm giving grace to people in that regard. There were a couple Vele instances where I was like, dude, you could probably come back on that a little easier. Just random route running changes. Okay. But, that's going to come with time. That's going to.
In all fairness, he did go 6 for 9.
That's pretty good.
He went 6 for 9 for 80 yards.
Good.
Averaged 13.3 yards per reception. So that's nothing to sleep on. And I agree. I think Devon Vele is going to be a very, very important part of this team. For the going forward and for the future. I like what I saw out of him today and last week, especially. Yeah. So it's definitely a lot of fun. Mundungus does say the OC is supposed to put the offense in the right scheme, and the QB is supposed to find the mismatch. I don't blame Ellis. I congratulate Scott Turner. Exactly. Like I said, Mullet Shoe, he looked right at it and he was like, "That's the mismatch I want. That's where I'm going with the ball." That's why he immediately rolled out to his right instead of maintaining the pocket. He rolled out to make that pass because he knew if I put this up, odds are my guy's going to get it and it's going to be a touchdown. He knew. And for whatever you want to say about Gardner Minshew and all his time in this league, he is a veteran quarterback. And, he may not be like the guy you want necessarily forever starting for your team, but he has enough experience to read a defense that he saw that mismatch the moment that he took the snap.
Yep.
And all like Mundungus said, Scott Turner called that play very well.
He did.
And let's see, a 6 for 10 Mexican. I agree with you, Jay, but it still led to points for the opponent. hopefully Vance doesn't put him in that predicament ever again.
Correct.
Or if you're gonna put him into that kind of stuff, you better work more on him with his coverages, on how to defend that kind of a situation. But again, he shouldn't be there. He's not the guy that you put into that.
Yep.
Jair, we stay getting beat on wheel routes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's like I said, this was a dirty game. There were definitely some low lights out of a 2-win team that we should have stomped. This should have been a blowout.
It should have been.
You know, that's what you get for divisional games on the road. You know, nothing's ever easy in that regard.
No, it's not. Mundungus popping in saying, yeah, in the future, I'm assuming he will roll a safety down to help cover. I mean, that's really what should have happened in the first place.
That, or you know, Justin Strnad or some capable linebacker needs to be put in that role.
Yeah, not Jonah Ellis, who is your rookie edge rusher.
Yeah, it's certainly not. That's like putting Nick Bonito in coverage. God knows you would never do that.
Or Jonathan Cooper. Cooper. That's not what they do.
Correct.
So, another one here from D-Rock, Jay.
You know, and again, hey, the deep passes to Franklin will come. It's lackluster right now because they're not on the same page. Franklin's not getting the release that he's normal to in college. Therefore, timing is off between them. That's a Franklin thing that we need to ride with the rookie bumps in the road.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to pay dividends. Just like I said in previous shows, you know, the dropped touchdown in the end zone that Franklin had earlier in the year, that's going to
against the Raiders.
Benefit.
I was there at that game.
True. Touche. I forgot that. But that's going to reap its benefits in the future. I'm not scared about that.
But again, Troy Franklin, two catches, 2 for 4 for 31 yards.
Yeah.
You know, an average of 15.5 yards per reception. So he didn't have a bad game. He didn't have a great game either, but you know, he definitely was productive for us. Yeah. It'll come. I agree with you completely, Jay. It will get there. It's just
you know, when we look on the stat sheet and we see 3 targets for Lil Jordan Humphrey, those are 3 targets that should be divvied out somewhere else, in my opinion. He has no place in this offense in a long-term sense, so I don't know why we're beating the brakes off that.
Absolutely not. I'm with you 100% on that one. Like I like Lil Jordan Humphrey in certain moments, but he is just that. He's a moment-to-moment receiver. He's not a
good run blocker. I will give him that.
Yeah.
He is a good run blocker because of his big body. But man, he leaves a lot to be desired as far as speed and agility to like get open.
Absolutely. Mark from Georgia giving us some jersey love. The Broncos jerseys from last year are half price now. I got my Bo Nix Elite jersey for half price. Limited time only, guys.
Ooh.
Okay, cool.
The more you know.
All right. NBC, the more you know.
You do.
Yep. The star. Oh, I love it. All right. But yeah, I mean, I liked what I saw there. There was defensively, Jay, we didn't have a great showing for any one person today. I mean, we had good showings. Cody Barton led the team in tackles with a number that is unlike anything I've seen for a tackle leader. 6 total tackles.
Yeah.
And he actually he and PJ Locke actually tied there. The only reason I think Cody Barton gets the nudge there is because he also recorded half a sack on the day. I mean, but as a team, 5 total sacks. So that's something. Still the sack leading team in the NFL. So, and pressure, we struggled with pressure early in the game, but pressure came after halftime. We started really getting in their faces, forced Gardner Minshew to make an errant throw, which resulted in an interception. Who had that? Who was that again? There we go. Brandon Jones had that interception. And then returned it for 37 yards.
And that was forced from pass rush.
Yes.
Because, I mean, we had, I think it was Benito and Cooper, or maybe Ellis, but, I mean, we had 2 opposite end pass rushers that basically corresponded on the quarterback at the exact same time, force that throw.
Yes.
So definitely not a coverage interception necessarily.
Oh, no. And that's what I was saying was that, like, you know, the pressure in the second half definitely led to defensive success because we saw that, multiple turnovers. It was well executed, at least especially in the second half, pressure wise. So I don't know. I mean, it's not. We've said it already. It wasn't a beautiful win, but it was a win nonetheless.
Yep. All right. So I'm gonna give the people what they want. Mark needs one of those waves again, like a star. But I'm gonna intro this into our next segment because I think we should get to some balls. So if we want to picture this, a ball right here flying over the screen in an arch. Let's go get some balls. Here we go. So this is your Who's Got the Ball segment.
Oh, no.
And, you know, again, not like stupendous of a day stat-wise. Kind of a blah game. I wouldn't go as far as to say it was boring, but kind of boring.
Well, when you look at what we did last week, this was boring.
Yeah, correct. This was just get her done fashion.
Got her did.
Yep, exactly. And do it again. I'd do it again.
I'd do it again.
So, I mean, I don't know if you want to go the full 3 ball here each. I mean, I could probably get creative on my third.
I think that's kind of our thing is that when we lose, we give 2 each. Yeah. When we win, we give 3. And one of mine is definitely spoken for in a big way. I'm going to go ahead and go first so that you don't take it from me. Because he's I'm always giving balls to this guy all the time. Yeah, and I said that on purpose. So have fun with it, chat.
Is this a cliche ball game?
Oh, you bet it is. You bet it is. It's a special teams ball, Jay.
Yep. Here
it
is.
He deserves it, dude.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Damn it,
Johnny! Screw you. No, Will Lutz definitely gets a game ball this game especially. Dude had let me go to it right now. Here we go. Will Lutz 5 for 5 on field goals. 2 of them from beyond 50. A 54-yarder and a 52-yarder, not at elevation, by the way. All right, so there's that. So 5 for 5. He also had 2 extra points. So, the dude successfully put it between the posts 7 times this game. And
pretty impressive.
Leading to a 29-19 victory. I mean, in that first half, where was our offense? Will Lutz kept us in the first half game.
Yeah, he did.
Offensively. So he definitely gets that game ball. Call it cliche, say that I give way too much love to the kicker, but I think that kickers don't get the love they deserve, truly in general. And today, to go 5 for 5 on field goals, 2 for 2 on extra points, with 2 field goals made over 50 yards, I mean, that for 17 total points out of our 29, come on, man. I got to show the guy some love there.
Yeah. No, he is Mr. Consistency. It's not his fault that the aspect happened in Kansas City. That is literally the only thing you can think of on the season, that he maybe let us down with a low kick. But there were far other factors going on that specific play. But other than that play, he has been Mr. Consistent on this team. It is so nice to have that kind of kicker.
Yeah.
He's super clutch.
Denver City Productions, there's giving game balls and there's polishing his balls. Well, Denver City...
Yeah.
Here you go, buddy. I'll polish away. If polishing Will Lutz's balls keeps him as consistent as he has been for us, I'll do it, dude. Let's go. So what about you, Jay? Who's your first game ball of the day? Wait a minute. Uh-oh. Frozen. Let it go. Let it go. Come on, Jay. Wake up. Oh, no. We've lost him. I think we've lost him.
I declare.
Okay. I don't know. Hey guys in the comments, is Jay frozen for you too? Help me out. We had Jay back, real good there for a few minutes, and then we just lost him. Well, okay. Moving on, I suppose. Denver City Productions saying, not saying I disagree. Polish away, my friend. Hey, I love it. And I've got people agreeing with me here. Mark from Georgia saying, let's nuts game ball. D-Rock agreeing too. Lutz, Sean Payton, and VJ. I don't know. I'm not sure I'm giving them to the coaches today. But
yeah, I don't know. This does not.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. I have children. The children come hither. And we've lost Jay again. I apologize. But anyway, yeah, Denver City says he's a goner. No, we've lost Jay yet again. Oh, this is painful. It's like Isaiah sent his old internet over to Jay's house, and now Jay's living Isaiah's worst life.
Doodle over here.
It is, dude. I mean, like, seriously, are you downloading? Are you downloading on LimeWire again, Jay?
I would do that in that case. I was more a Andreas person than a LimeWire Napster kind of person, but hopefully I'll hold up here. You hear me?
Let's hope, man. I can hear you, but dude, it is so choppy. It is so choppy. You got that McGlitchy. You got that McGlitchy Wi-Fi.
Yep, I blame children.
Yeah, I blame MTV, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. So, well, who is your first game ball, Jay?
First game ball is going to Cortland Sutton. He
right.
definitely deserves a game ball. Dude, people doubted him being a number one. They doubted him even being number two before this season, and he's shown out. So I'm impressed by his consistency.
Absolutely. I mean, 8 receptions on 10 targets for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns, man. Like, he definitely, if there is someone that deserves a game ball, he is definitely one of them. I could not agree with you more. Denver City Productions agreeing with you. Napster is what I was going to say as well. But Mark from Georgia agrees with you. Jay Sutton deserves the game ball for sure.
Yep. He's been our best offensive weapon by far this whole season. And he just needs to be complimented because he's a complimentary piece. He shouldn't be the focal point of an offense.
No, he should not be.
He does extremely well with his role. And, we're just missing that spark on the other side of him. But he's Mr. Reliable. He's very consistent, and he's always going to be there for Bo. And that's what a rookie really needs, a guy he can trust. And that's definitely Court, and that has continued to prosper as far as, their intertwining relationship moving forward here.
Absolutely. I love it. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give one. This is a little tougher. I'm trying to go offensive here.
Okay.
And last week, obviously, the first one went to Bo Nix. It was like unanimous, undoubted, whatever. It's not that way this week. Bo was off comparatively, from last week to this week. But while you gave one to a wide receiver, I'm also going to give one to a wide receiver. And that's going to be Devon Vele, who, as far as the receiving game goes, pretty much carried the Broncos that first half. He had what would we say 6 for 9 for 80 yards. It was very very well executed. A couple of the passes that he didn't get, they were batted down. They were knocked down by in coverage. So he was where he needed to be. It seemed. I don't remember him having a single drop that was like an egregious drop on him. Cortland Sutton had one of those today.
Yeah, he did.
But Devon Bailey did not. And he always seemed to be in the right spot. Maybe wasn't able to necessarily close out the play, but was able to. But was where he was supposed to be. And 6 times out of those 9 times, he was successful for it. So I think Devon Bailey deserves that. And like I said, for as far as receiving goes, as far as the air game goes, he carried this team most of the first, at least through the first half. So I think he definitely deserves that ball.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And it's a good sign for a rookie to be given the opportunities he has.
Yes.
Because my gosh, we've heard for so long in so many instances that this coaching staff doesn't trust people like Marvin Mims in a route tree sense. But it's the opposite for Vele. He's given opportunities on top of opportunities for target share. And that's great. That's terrific. I just hope that we continue to develop him and he becomes, a more complete wide receiver moving forward.
Yes.
Because he's got a great high floor. I guess I'll say that.
I like it.
Like a typical rookie.
No, definitely not. So your next one there, cuz.
Okay. My next game ball is going to go to boy, I'm kind of, I guess a little bit piling on this, but I'm going to go with Marvin Mims, man. Because although he is a dud on some plays, he constantly presents a challenge for defenses, especially as much as Sean Payton is putting him in the backfield as a running back. It is keeping the defense honest, and there are going to be instances where that's a game changer. And that's my biggest gripe at the beginning of the year was like, can't we just get creative and get these speedsters the ball in space? Like, that's all they need. And we see the duds out of some of the, reverses or some of the, carries for Mims, just as he was a running back. But all it takes is one blown coverage of the Raiders lining up and saying, oh, he's a running back, right? So they don't put anyone on him. Or if they do, they're putting a slow linebacker on him. And he just
He's a great stunt wide receiver.
Yes. And I'm just happy that we haven't given up on him and put him buried in the depth chart to rot away, because a lot of coaching staffs probably would have done that.
We do know that he's not going to get buried to rot away because he is this team's returner and he is a Pro Bowl returner.
Correct.
But as far as his offensive play goes, yeah, absolutely.
He had 2 carries for -2 yards. But, on the flip side, he had 3 receptions for 44 with that 37-yarder basically winning us the game, that 37-yarder.
In a way, yeah, in a big way.
So it's just one play. And this is, the NFL is all about small margins of error that make a whole game different. Just one play. And he's that kind of game-breaking one-play person that can change the whole landscape of a game. So I'm going to give him another game ball, and I hope that I can continue to give him more game balls throughout the year here.
I love it. Shai Vargas in the house. It's nice to actually finally see Shai Vargas's face, because usually it's just been like an S. So it's nice to see your face there, Shai. And how about them Broncos, baby? I mean, dub's a dub, baby. We got that dub. That's 2 in a row. And we're going up again, and we're going to go take on the Browns next week. I'm ready for it, dude. I'm so ready for that. I can't. I don't know why I love Broncos versus Browns games. I always have, though.
I'm going to be very intrigued how Sean Payton approaches Jameis Winston, because those two love each other. They have a relationship. And Jameis is very entertaining. But
Jameis, one could
like
argue that Jameis's success only came after he was, he got touched by Sean Payton. So, but that's another thing too, is that Sean Payton knows how to scheme against him too.
True.
Because everything that Jameis does well, he learned from Sean Payton. So
correct.
It'll be interesting.
Instead of eating that W, he's going to be eating that L. So
right. Yeah. Shy wants to know, what do we think about Bo Nix?
Well, man, I don't know who. This kind of foreshadows into my last game ball, but do you want to hit your last game ball and we'll get back to that question?
Sure, absolutely.
Let's put a pin in that.
I'll gladly do that. I'm going to go defensive. I've gone special teams. I've gone offensive. Now I'm going to give one defensively, and this one goes to Brandon Jones. He got that interception, which was. He read it well when Minshew was under pressure and threw the ball, and he read it well and made the leap. It was a high pass too. I don't know if you noticed that. He had to leap to get that. And so he read it well. He had the hops. He got up there. He got the ball. But on top of the interception, he had 5 tackles, all of them solo on the day, which again is not the numbers you necessarily like. We usually see a lot higher numbers for our tackle leaders. But considering that the leading tacklers on the day had 6 total, for him to have 5 of those plus the interception, that he definitely read well and went up and leapt for. Ball hawked it right out of the air and then took it back for 37 yards. I want to say, pulling it up real quick. Yeah, 37 yard return on that pick. So I got to give him that love, man. Go Brandon Jones. Here's a game ball to you, sir.
Yeah, and being out last week and then this week was coming in questionable because of illness. I always look at players that overperform when they have a tag of illness coming into a game. So man, he's a difference maker on our defense.
Yes, he is.
I
don't like doing crap when I feel sick.
Yeah.
So for him to get out there, get 5 tackles while sick, and then also record a leaping pick with a 37-yard return.
Yep.
I don't know what the illness was. I'm just gonna assume like a stomach bug or something.
Probably.
But well done, sir. Yep. There's your game ball.
So
last one, Jay.
Last game ball. Man, we haven't beaten this team on the road since Peyton Manning was our quarterback. It's 8 years, and it's been 8 years since we've had anyone in a position to change that. And guys, we finally have a quarterback that is a rookie that has such a high floor as a rookie that we now take for granted. A game like today, where I don't think Bo Nix's name is going to jump off the paper when we look at a box score or when they talk about the game highlights of this game. But man, he is Mr. Consistency. He had 42 attempts, which I don't really ever want to see him with over 40 attempts in a game. That's not ideal, but he handled his business with 2 touchdowns and no picks. And a very, very important distinction between where we have been and what he is doing now is he only had 1 sack given up. And there was a crazy stat that I saw on Twitter or X this week of basically the comparison of sacks given up on the exact same offensive line this year compared to last year. And the only change is at quarterback. And the difference that Bo does in order to protect himself from taking sacks is incredible. That's first Max Crosby, who is not a slouch. So, man, Bo Nix gets a game ball for me for just being Mr. Consistent and being our leader.
He is leading this team. I mean, and you talking about him being a leader. I mean, getting out there as a rookie and talking smack with Max Crosby and Wilson. I mean, the dude, this is a guy who's barely been in the league,
Yeah.
and yet he's gonna step up to dudes that give quarterbacks nightmares. A dude, not Wilson. Wilson's not that dude, but Crosby is.
Yeah.
You give, to step up to a dude that gives most quarterbacks in this league nightmares after they play him. And you're going to talk that smack right back at him, because we all know Max Crosby's got a big friggin' mouth. He loves to talk. I don't know how many of those videos you've seen of mic'd up Max Crosby where he's literally heckling quarterbacks. I've heard some of the most hysterical things that he'll heckle these quarterbacks. For Bo to come right back at him, that's the leader I want. He's like, that his leadership is paramount above all else. Bo's leadership of this team is paramount, and I love what I'm seeing. So I absolutely agree with you. So there's your answer, Shy. I still, it was a slightly less this week than we saw from him last, but he's still the guy to me.
If this is a off game for him, we're in store for a great next 10 years out of Bo Nix. It's just so nice to not have a negative at that position.
It is
such a difference maker. I'm just so happy. So happy.
Absolutely. Big E Bronco, who we haven't had in here in forever, saying, "Here we go, Broncos. Here we go." Had to throw it in.
They go Big E. They go Big E.
But I don't know, Jay. I mean, that's 6 game balls given, and I think they all were deserved to those that got them.
Absolutely.
And like we said, nobody really jumped off the page in this game. Maybe Cortland Sutton did for sure, but I mean, it was a win.
Yep.
It was a win. It doesn't have to be pretty. At the end of the day, we are now 7-5?
7-5.
We're above 500. We're still sitting with the 7th seed right now for the playoffs. And
we're getting help. The Colts lost today. We are now 2 games ahead for that spot.
The Texans lost today.
Although that doesn't really matter because they're still going to win that division.
They're going to win that division, but it's still. I'm just saying, today was a day of upsets in the NFL.
It was
the Cowboys over the Commanders.
Yep.
What?
Pretty nuts.
Who saw that shit coming? I didn't.
Dude, and you know what? I had one of my Kansas City Chief buddies text me and say, "Oh wow, this game is like what most Chief games should be, extremely close versus a bottom dweller of a team in the Carolina Panthers that they squeaked out a field goal to win, but the refs actually didn't hand them a game. It was a fair officiating from what said. So maybe there's a turn of tide.
Maybe there is. Maybe the Chiefs are no longer the darlings of the NFL. I don't know, but we got several new names in here. Real quick, we got Bob Skinner's back in. We haven't had Bob in here for a while. It says, "Oh, Bo, it's good to see you, Bob." We also have Michael George Bathurst. That's a new name to us.
Absolutely.
So, Michael, welcome to the Orange and Blue Crew. Here's to you, and welcome to the Orange and Blue Crew. Mm-hmm.
Like that suit.
I do too. I like the tie. That is a boardroom winning tie right there, buddy. He says Broncos are awakening the fan base with hope and healing. Absolutely. Dude. Well said. Well said. By the way, that's a comment from Twitter. Which, by the way, I don't know if you know this, Jay. We can finally see Twitter comments on StreamYard.
Yay!
So there you go. That's exciting. I've got another one here. J with 2 J's. I don't know. I'm not pulling it up. It has nothing to do with the Denver Broncos, and honestly, we try to keep this a clean show as best we can. Not all shows on this network do, but we try to. We have our mine and Jay and I are first cousins, And our 89-year-old grandmother watches this show religiously. So we do try to keep it somewhat clean, so I'm not pulling up that comment. Big E says, Washington is pretenders, not contenders. The little thing has come to the end. Pittsburgh Steelers showed everybody how to do it. And, well, I mean, it's the Cliff Kingsbury, effect. The dude always has a successful first half of a season as an offensive coordinator, and then plummets off a cliff.
Yep.
Cliff Kingsbury. Plummets off a Cliff Kingsbury. But, so, I mean, it is. Michael actually says, I had a feeling the Cowboys might find a new pathway to win. I mean, I'll say this. I don't know if you caught any of that game, Jay.
I did.
At all. But that drop, that muffed kick that he picked up and then returned.
The spin
98
was literally
yards.
out of Madden. That was a nuts spin.
That was insanity. And that definitely helped them secure that win. D-Rock. Well, D-Rock is going to give a fan game ball to Garrett Bowles, saying he needs a game ball and extension. Couldn't agree with you more, buddy. I mean,
he had a good game.
Garrett Bowles, he had a great game. For the left side was very well defended in pass and run protection, and he sealed that edge very well today. And I don't know if you noticed, no penalties on Garrett Bowles today.
This is true.
So
yeah,
you talk about Bo being consistent, but Garrett Bowles is Mr. Consistency at the left tackle position.
He's playing.
Don't mess with it. Extend that man.
Not wrong.
So anyway, that I think that does it, at least for game balls. Don't you think, Jay?
Yeah, I think so. You got any really final thoughts, big picture of this game here, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, big picture, this was a division game. We talked about it before. Division games are always harder. You play them so much, they know you. They've played us once already this season. They were able to use what they learned in that game the Raiders were able to put together a pretty well executed game on their part, while they were down with major players in multiple spots during a dumpster fire of a season. Yeah. Because they've already played us. It was a divisional game. It went exactly as it was supposed to. The Broncos were supposed to win. They weren't. And by the way, if you remember from pregame, they were supposed to win, or the spread was only 5.5 points.
Yeah, small spread for
So that's
would be.
We didn't win by a lot. We won by 10 points. So we definitely covered that spread. We didn't blow them out because they were ready for us, because they've played us, they know us. It's a divisional game.
Yeah.
That being said, all the bad we saw, let's let it run off our back, water off, or let's let it wash away like water off a duck's back. Okay, move on. We got the Browns coming up, and the Browns haven't been great this season either. It's another game we should win. So let's just focus on the future. The Broncos got the dub. We are 7-5 and still holding strong. By the way, our chances now with a Week 12 win going into this game, our chances with a win in this game went up to 73% to make the playoffs. So we're way above 50 at that point. That is a good sign. Let's take the good with the bad. Let's focus on the good, and let's just move on, because we got 2 games coming, a bye week, and another game coming up that we were supposed to win. We're supposed to win both. So that's what we got to focus on now.
Prime time. Monday Night Football still. That has not been flexed. That has not been changed. It's Monday Night Football next, boys. So
and don't forget, we got flexed to a Thursday Night Football game as well.
Correct. So
all of these things are very exciting.
Correct. It's going to be we haven't had a Monday night game in Denver for quite a while. So I'm excited for the next game, and it's an opponent we should beat. So it's going to be a really good feel to end before a bye, before we get to take a breath.
Absolutely. Yeah. Real quick, couple quick last comments here, and then of course your final thoughts, Jay. But Michael popping back in, Mr. Bathurst, saying my 2 favorite teams are the Bills, and I'm not sure what that I believe that's a coding symbol for something, and the Broncos. And then he asks us, what was the inspiration starting this very entertaining show? Well, where do I begin? It began, what, 4 years ago, Jay? A little bit over?
Yeah.
And it actually started with me and my best friend, Isaiah, who's the host of the Get Bucks Game Day show from earlier today. We literally, all we would ever talk about is Broncos. We talk stats, we talk players, we talk everything. We watched every game together. And it actually began when people would be around us, listening to us. They'd be like, you guys really know your stuff, and you're really fun to listen to when you're talking about this. You should go on the internet and do that. And so we started from scratch, and slowly but surely we built. And then, Jay is my first cousin, my childhood best friend. I love him with all my heart. He's like a brother to me. And one day, our grandfather, this is his jacket here. Mine and Jay's grandfather raised us both to be diehard and huge Denver Broncos fans. And one day I said to Jay, hey, you want to be part of this? And he was very excited, jumped right in. And here we are. And we've just kept it on rolling. And as far as I'm concerned, this will go forever. So, the last one I want to throw up here real quick. Is Bob Skinner asking, Hope Moss is okay. To answer your question, to kind of answer that, we got a injury update early in the show from Mundungus. The coaches talked about it. Riley Moss is going to be just fine. In fact, he even tried to come back into the game, but they decided to go ahead and sit him. But the coaches said in their post-game presser, coach said during the post-game presser, he'll be back next week. He'll be fine for next week. So that's a good thing. And then, Jay, if you want to field this one from Mr. Bathurst.
What do you think of the Bills this year? I think the Bills finally got the recipe that they need this year, and that's a dig-less team. I thought he was a big cancer of that team, and I think their offense is playing a lot better because they're more balanced. They don't have to feed a diva. And I think that they are going to get over the hump this year. Bills would be my dark horse to represent AFC if it's not us, because I think they can travel. And I think they've already proven they can beat Kansas City. And they're just going to have to probably beat Baltimore as well. Those are the two, top teams, I think, in AFC. So, man, Bills could be dangerous.
Oh yeah,
good for the Bills.
And of course, as a diehard Broncos fan, I only two words to add to that: Von Miller. So,
yeah, correct.
So yeah, thanks.
Well, Johnny, as we are hitting that 90-minute mark, I kind of feel like, I don't know about you, but I've definitely bucked my feelings.
I've bucked my feelings.
A lot of mixed feelings to go around on a W that was, double-digit W. But, we're going to have more double-digit W's coming up, and they're going to be, I think, plentiful on the horizon here with our schedule upcoming. So,
absolutely.
Super excited for what's to come. Another week of good vibes, and to puff our chest out a little bit as we go into the Thanksgiving week here. So, yes, please, if you are new to us, if you know us already, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We are the Orange and Blue Network. This is our post-game, but we got pre-game. We've got a Tuesday night flagship show. Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue. We also have Broncos Talk with Adon Diaz and Ty Y, the fantasy guy, on Wednesday nights. And starting now, second week coming on Fridays, Viva Los Broncos, an all Spanish broadcast of your favorite Denver Bronco team here. The first all Spanish broadcast of
fan-led
podcasters.
The first,
fan-led,
the very first ever fan-led Spanish Broncos podcast. The Broncos themselves have one. That's part of the organization, but this is the first one that is fan-led. So if you have family, friends that speak Spanish that want to listen to something in Spanish, please jump on over. Adon Diaz and the up-and-coming, very front runner for Denver Broncos Fan of the Year, Bronco Libre, host that show, and it's an absolute blast.
And it was a great first show for them. I'm very excited for what they can do with that show because, man, they've got untapped nooks and crannies of the world to explore, and they'll have the audience. So good for those
Yes, they will.
guys. Let's bring Broncos Country worldwide, and bring it to the forefront. So really excited for that show. But without further ado, guys, man, it's been a night. It's been a good night. So Johnny, get a little mile high salute on you.
I got
let's
you,
go
buddy.
Broncos. And here we go, boys. Another week of winning. Let's go.